the little DAC with a big sound. Like it or not, we all judge our books by their covers, at least to some extent. And the last time you bought a book, how did you judge it? By reading through to the end and making your mind up, or did you just like the cover? Or did you trust a reviewer's opinion? I've been reading and writing and videoing reviews for many years, or I might say several decades. And what I know is there are three things that are relevant and important. One would be technical specifications, which I'll combine with feature lists, stuff that anyone can measure and check. Another would be quotes or demonstrations, like one of my favourite programmes on BBC Radio 3, Record Review, where I get to hear samples of the recordings that are featured. And last, probably least, is the reviewer's opinion. As a reviewer or potential buyer of anything, our opinions are formed by many factors. And going back to that book and its cover, one is how whatever it is that you're considering buying looks. Where I'm going with this is that audiophile equipment, is often marketed on its looks, as well as its features, specifications and sound. If you dare, look up expensive hi-fi equipment on Google. Today my top 3 results include a home theatre receiver at just under £9,000, an AV processor, whatever that is, at nearly £12,000, and a network receiver at a mere £3,000. I don't know why I'm seeing not so many speakers and turntables among my results. Ask Google. But hey, what I see, they all look great. Or look the business, as some might say. I'm sure they sound the business too, and have all the features you might need. But if they didn't look good, who's going to buy at these prices? Today I have to review a product that I doubt if anyone would say, wow, that's impressive. They might say, wow, that's cute, but looking at it, will they expect great things from the sound? First, let's unbox it. Then we'll find out. Okay, it's cute. Definitely cute. The S.M.S.L SU-1 DAC. It does have a good look and feel too, which is most definitely a good thing. A well-made piece of jewellery might be tiny, but it might still be very impressively well made. As you might guess, the SU-1 comes from China, from Foshan Shuangmu Sanlin Technology Company Limited, which through some feat of linguistic geometry abbreviates to S.M.S.L. That's S.M.S.L. to be precise. I like to be precise. Let's look at the features, what it does. I wouldn't say that the S.M.S.L SU-1 is bristling with features, but it doesn't have to. If you, as a potential buyer, are in the target zone, it might just hit you with a bullseye. It's a DAC! Did I say that? I said DAC. What I didn't say is combined DAC and headphone amplifier, which is a very popular feature factor these days. It wouldn't surprise me one jot if quite a number of lookers-on are wondering where the headphone output is. It doesn't have one. It's a DAC. OK, I think we know where we stand on this now. It's a DAC. You'll need your own means of converting the analog electrical output into sound. Let's have a look at the bells and whistles. Not very many of them, but probably exactly what many users precisely need. On the front we have a power switch which combines as an input selector. I was expecting to throw in a gripe here that the smallness and lightness of the unit would make it difficult to operate the switch without pushing the whole thing back on the desk, or whatever surface you have it on. But it's easy to hold with a finger on the back, so no gripe at all. It would have been nice if the operating click was a little less tinny. Come on, someone's got to mention these things. Going around the back for a moment, we find 3 digital inputs, USB-C, optical and coaxial, SPDIF on an RCA connector, as some of us know it. If you use the optical or coaxial inputs, you'll still need to supply power through the USB-C connector, but that's hardly a hardship. I prefer that to a dedicated wall wart, of which I have many that I can't remember what equipment they relate to. For me, I'd be using the USB-C connector from my computer, and I suspect a lot of users will too, so I'll stick with that. Now, let's swing back to the front again and see a row of LEDs that tell us which of the 3 inputs is active. Oh, there's another LED. I doubt if this will get much use, but if you've been sadly misguided in the past, you might see it come on when you send in an MQA encoded source to any of the inputs apparently. I won't be testing that. Spinning round again, the outputs are in 2 RCA connectors. Should I be surprised there are no colours? Well, they're labelled and they're on the correct sides when you look at the unit from the front, which is as things should be. Other than that, that's it. Let me throw in a couple of specs here. PCM up to 32 bits, 768 kHz, DSD 512, nothing to complain about there. One further fun fact is that the internal AK4493S chip has been carefully adjusted to an unprecedented 0.00013%. I got that from the manual. 0.00013% of what? It doesn't say. Oh, and talking about the manual, come on, this is ridiculous. I know I'm an old geezer and I need my +1 reading glasses for computer, +2 for print. I have to use +4 to read the tiny, tiny text in the tiny, tiny manual. And I don't think the ink is even properly black. Some companies whose products I've reviewed have excellent manuals, no complaints. This time, now more specs. Oh, I've just discovered where that 0.00013% comes from. It's the total harmonic distortion plus noise. You can't hear it. You cannot hear it. You know, I think that will do for the specs. If you buy one of these and you can hear any issue with frequency response, distortion or noise, tell us in the comments. You know you want to. Now, in the past, some of my commenters have criticised that my reviews are too objective and they want to know what the equipment sounds like. Well, I suppose I could say that it sounds fine to me. There's nothing about the SU-1 that would spoil my enjoyment of any kind of audio. But I know that's not enough for subjectivists. So what I've done, crazy I know, is find comments from other reviewers. I'll get my technical assistant Betty to quote them for me, and I'll tell you whether I agree or not. I think this seems like a good method. There might be a bit of paraphrasing here and there, but it's pretty close to what other reviewers actually said. What do you think? Anyway, Betty.
It doesn't make you think you're listening to digital music.
I agree. It doesn't make me think I'm listening to analog music either. I just hear music.
After the first hour, when the slight hardness and edge had begun to burn off, I was impressed.
New out of the box, I tried to listen for hardness and edge. I didn't hear any, neither did I hear anything burn off. My bad, I guess.
The width of the soundscape is very impressive.
I can't think what might be going on to affect the width of the stereo image. All I know is I listened to my own music, and it sounds just like the way I made it.
The microdynamics have a lively presentation.
Well, yes, there are such things as dynamics and microdynamics. You can create what you could call microdynamics in production by parallel compression on the drums, is one way. But again, I didn't hear any different dynamics or microdynamics on my own Music.
You never feel that it has speed by not having weight or full-bodied tone.
Okay, does it have speed or not have speed? I'd guess the double negative means it does have weight and a full-bodied tone. Okay, that's enough of that. You know, I do recognise how difficult it is to put these kinds of things into words. In production, there are so many things that it's useful to be able to describe and communicate, so anyone who can find the words to put across what they genuinely hear has my respect. I am, by the way, listening through my production system with equipment that's very familiar to me. If there was anything to hear, and if my ageing ears could hear it, I'll hear it. Anyway, I'm going to pick out that last comment. I don't know about the speed, but it does seem to me that the SU-1 has weight and a full-bodied tone. So this brings me back to my opening comment. The S.M.S.L SU-1, the little DAC with a big sound. See you soon.